Hey guys, how you doing? Let's check out the spells from the 2024 Player's Handbook Playtest number 6 and see what we got here. I have the 2014 Player's Handbook or other books on the left here. So looking through the spell lists, we get a few more spells added. Elementalism is a whole new spell. And then we take a few spells from Xanathar's and Tasha's as well. Then the spells that have changed type are highlighted with an asterisk there. We can see a few of those, like Flaming Sphere, Blindness, Deafness, Stone Skin, Contingency. Most of the healing spells are abjuration spells. We can see that on the cleric list with Cure Wounds, Healing Word, both being abjuration. The cleric gets to add Toll the Dead, and Word of Radiance actually divine, so clerics and paladins, and others that use divine spells. Power Word to Heal being an enchantment, that's odd. I would think that'd be an abjuration like the rest of the healing spells. And we'll see that looks like there was some confusion on the part of wizards too. Thunderwave is listed as a transmutation here, even though it's evocation somewhere else, so another confusion. And here's Power Word Heal listed as an abjuration in the primal list. Now, they say that Power Word Heal is changed to an enchantment, but they forgot that one, and it seems like it makes more sense being an abjuration. We will see with the next version of the playtest what they do with that. Banishing Smite. So all the Smite spells are the same, and I really like that. I think that's a really good move. And many of them are limited to paladins only. There's a couple that are divine. The first one here, Banishing Smite, they all act as a bonus action that you can cast immediately after hitting a creature with a melee weapon or an unarmed strike. They all have a verbal component. If their power doesn't give repeated saves, they have a concentration component to them. If there are repeated saves to the power, then there's usually not a concentration. I like that, and we'll see if that's an overall thing that's done with the rest of the spells. A spell like Hold Person could really benefit from that, where you get repeated saves, but the cleric does not have to concentrate on it, for example. So Banishing Smite gives a charisma saving throw, or be transported to a harmless demi plane, and basically you're there for the duration if you fail that save or until the paladin stops concentrating. When the spell ends, you reappear. That's Banishing Smite, and it's basically the same as it used to be. Then we have Blinding Smite. This one is paladin only, and they did a change here where there's no save to become blinded, but then they say you get to repeat your save, although they haven't defined it, at the end of each turn. I think it'd be good to have a save initially. I'm not sure it's good to have you just automatically be blinded by the spell. But either way, they need to fix that. Then we got Conjure Barrage, and now you can do this with not just a thrown weapon and ammunition, but any weapon, melee or ranged, worth at least a copper. And it also used to be a cone that affected everything in the cone. Now it's a cone, but it's creatures you choose. Now, being creatures you choose, you have to see them, so that's a drawback, potentially, in darkness. The damage is up from 3d8 to 5d8. I think that's better, given that it's a third level spell. Ranger spell only. I like the changes on that one. Conjure Volley, you can also do with a melee weapon. Range is 150 feet, same as before. Area is 40 feet, same as before. And also, like Conjure Barrage, it's creatures you choose, but then you also have to see them. The damage is still 8d8, but now it's force damage, so it'll overcome things with resistance to weapon attacks. Divine Smite. This is a new one, and this basically replaces the Paladin's class ability of Divine Smite. And it follows all the same smiting rules. It's basically the same damage as smiting used to be, increases the same as smiting used to be, so I like that. Elementalism is a new little cantrip, range of 30 feet. Just does basically small little things with elements. And that came about, I know, from the monk of the elemental monk. Probably be a cantrip available to druids as well. Feinsteed for the paladin. This one is now an action to cast instead of 10 minutes, so you can get your steed right into the battle. Just whistle and they ride into the battle. They are going to use this otherworldly steed stat block, so that's good. You can have them resemble a large rideable animal, and you choose if they're celestial, fey, or fiend. That fey one's pretty strong with its misty step ability, basically, or teleport ability. Then they're allies to you and your companions. They share your initiative. When they disappear, they leave behind anything they were carrying. I don't think it specified that before. That is feinsteed Hunter's Mark. So this is Rangers only. D6 force the first time you hit with it in an attack roll on any turn. Now, Treant Monk did a good video showing that the power of this isn't as reduced as you think it might be, because as you cast it at higher slots, you do more damage with it. If the target drops to 0 hit points, you can also move it immediately. It used to say on a subsequent turn, so in theory you could not, on round 2, say you have it going, you drop a person, you have to wait to round 3 to move it. Now if you have a bonus action, you move it right around 2. And that can help because that lets you track things and do other things. Advantage on wisdom checks, perception, or survival. Okay, and then up to 3d6 at the highest levels. Power word to heal, enchantment, should that be abjuration? We'll see. Range is 60 feet, verbal component. Creature you can see with it. Also removes dazed, and they removed the limitation that it doesn't work on constructs or undead. With some of the ancestries being construct or undead, there was always these caveats for those ancestries. Now you don't have to worry about it. Power word kill does 100. If they're below 100 points, they die. If not, they take 12d12. I'd like to just see this do 100 damage, and if it drops them to 0, they die. That'd be cleaner, easier. Finding 12-sided dice to roll would take a while on the table, so I'd like that change. Searing Smite. So here's Searing Smite. Bonus action. And it's got a duration of a minute with no concentration because there's repeated saves for it. And the target takes the fire damage before they make their first save. They're going to take at least 2d6 fire damage. 1d6 when they hit, 1d6 at the start of their next turn before their first save. Shining Smite. This used to be Branding Smite, and changed to a transmutation. It's paladin only. Otherwise, basically the same. Staggering Smite. This one got a beef up. Its evocation became enchantment, paladin only. All the same stuff, except now it stuns instead of making a save or having disadvantage on attack rolls. This one actually stuns you. Thunderous Smite. Let's see how that compares. All the standard Smite stuff. And basically identical to the way it was before. Vicious Mockery. That got an upgrade from D4 damage to D6 damage. And it does... So this is leveling up with bard levels only, so a little bit hit to multi-classing there on this one. Oh, and it affects creatures that see or hear you. That you see or hear within range. Then Wrathful Smite, the last of the spells. First level, standard Smite abilities. This one works for any divine caster. Verbal, duration a minute, no concentration now because you get repeated saving throws. Does necrotic damage instead of psychic. Each of their turns, the frightened target repeats the save to end, rather than it used to be an action to repeat the save to end. So that's a little bit less powerful because having to expend actions to even try the save, that was rough. So there you go. That is the spells, guys. I'm going to take a look at feats and the various other weapon tables and weapon. What's it called? Weapon mastery, and also the glossary. All right. Thanks, guys.